lot of money. And there seems to be an asymmetrical element to that. But you have to appreciate that what we do invest is time. That is the trade-off that occurs. We don't take $1 million and put it into infrastructure to start a small business. Is that what we really do is we take our time and we invest our time. And that when Tracy talks about 3 and 7, she's talking about an increase on her investment, a significant increase. And productivity is the reason why successes are created. And that you need to understand that. And that's part of what we're seeing in that it's happening moment. Because it takes less time to sponsor people, less time to sell products, less time to move products so that you can roll over your investment and get a return. And so I just wanted to point that out. Okay. I was actually going to have other people speak before I go through this, but John has made a command decision. He said that we're going to go forward, and so let's do this. This is an example of that point that I just made. And for those of you over on this side, what you're seeing here, we're not going to play the video here, is that what you're seeing here is the assembly line of Henry Ford. Henry Ford moved Ford Motor Car up to the apex of just the newly born automobile industry by creating the assembly line that allowed him to create 10 cars in the same time that it took his competitors, to make 1 car. And that because of that, when he stepped into that market, there was 1,800 different car companies out there when Henry Ford got started. But the assembly line cut them all down because of the increased productivity that the assembly line allowed him to engage in. He's not the only one. We see lots of the successes that we see out there in large corporations. You see Walmart, which is the largest corporation in the world today. Walmart, even though it's unseen from a consumer point of view, their success has to do with their chain, in terms of their production chain and buying products and beating down their suppliers. And they've created such a monster there, is that they're able to compete and sell at a lower price because of the system that they created behind the scenes. The same thing holds true if you look at McDonald's. Even in the run-of-the-mill, mundane fast food industry, McDonald's was propelled to be the largest fast food company because of what they called initially their speedy service system that allowed them to bring a hamburger and put it in front of you from start to finish over a much shorter period of time. And all that is a productivity equation. And so that when we talk about productivity, and that's what we're going to talk about now, because we're going to go through the technology, I just want that to be the foundation of what you're understanding. My belief is that the company is successful, we as the distributors are successful if we can create a situation where we can make more money investing less effort. And that is what the technology that we're going to discuss is going to attempt to do. To help the distributors make more money with less effort. Okay. Let's move on. Everybody here, when you sponsor someone in the business, there's an opportunity cost equation that has to be met. If you're sponsoring someone who's on the lower end of the economic food chain, in other words, they don't make a lot of money, they're not engaged in business, they don't have a lot that they have to sacrifice to produce, to engage in the business, their opportunity cost equation is very low. But if you sponsor more and better people, if you start to talk to people who are successful in business, for them to pursue the business, they have to give up something else. That's the opportunity cost equation. Their time has value. And if you can't meet their opportunity cost, then you can't sponsor them. And so if you've got someone who's making $500,000 doing some other business or doing as an employee for someone, you have to make sure that you meet his opportunity cost equation. You have to allow him to see where he can say, okay, if I do this, I'm going to be able to get enough return to make it worthwhile for me to involve myself with this opportunity. I got a call here. Okay, this is Dennis Clifton. Let's all say hello to Dennis Clifton. I will call you later. Okay. Let's turn that off. And so when we talk about added productivity, what we're really talking about is that the pool of people that you can now sponsor has started to grow. And that's one of the things that is also occurring with Vitality. Because we have been centered on skincare, and also because the spa, the Galvanic Spa, was demonstration-centric, the pool of people we could sponsor began to shrink. And who was it that we were losing? Men. I would go out and do opportunity meetings, and 3/4, 9/10 of the people in the audience would be women. And that slowed down the sponsorship rate. Vitality, just by its very nature and the type of product that it has, Vitality has opened up the sponsorship pool to men in a way that we have not experienced it over the course of the last 2 years. And it's not because the spa was a bad product. The spa was a wonderful product. But one of the things in business that you always have to be cognizant of is what they call unintended consequence. And that's what we saw with the advent of the spa. The unintended consequence of the spa, even though it's a dynamic product and that we want to sell it, but the unintended consequence of the spa is that it started to eliminate men. And so when I talk about an increase of sponsorship that has taken place over the course of the last 30 and 60 days, what I'm really saying to you is we have started to go into the full population. We're starting to sponsor men. And the impact on you is not going to be small. This also has to do with the opportunity cost equation. We all know, and it's not a right thing, but women tend to make less money than men. I mean, you know, that's just a statistical reality. That means that men have a higher opportunity cost equation that has to be met. And so that as we go into this market that has just been expanded for us because the product has changed, the product that is central to the business presentation has changed, we have to make sure that what also goes along with that is an increased opportunity cost equation to meet the needs of those men, especially those people who have circles of influence, that have business abilities, those people have been successful in other arenas, and that we have to make sure that we can meet their needs. And that's one of the things that is occurring. Higher sponsorship rate helps eliminate opportunity cost equations difficulties. But there's another way to approach that, and that is lowering the attrition rate. Anyone here who's been in the business knows that you just hate attrition. I mean, how many of you, the Blue Diamonds know this best of all, because they've been in the business over a long period of time, and they have memories of people that have come and gone, people that would have been great in the business, but the opportunity cost equation can never be arranged so then for them to say. I look at my, you know, the nice thing about me is everybody at Nuskin's in my downline. It's a wonderful place to be. It's just a wonderful place to be. I like it. My children like it more. But I look over the course of the last 25 years in Nuskin, and I think, what would have happened if we could have just slowed down the attrition rate just a little bit? The implication, Vivian is sitting here saying, oh, wow. And it's true. Cindy? Oh, wow. Lisa? Oh, wow. If we could have just lowered the attrition rate just a little bit, the impact on checks would be unbelievable. And the company understands this. You look at the preferred customer program. You look at the automatic reorder program. That is the company making an attempt to slow down the attrition rate, and that slowing of the attrition rate raises the income, and income is the advertisements that distributors have that the business is viable. And that it also, as your income grows, it raises your productivity. You can go through the entire presentation, and it takes 45 minutes, or you can say, I made $4,000 2 months ago. I made $8,000 last month. I think I'm going to make $12 this month. The case is done. You don't have to say anything more than that. It's like, okay, you know, I'm going to sign here, and what do you want me to do? Because it abbreviates the quest for information. They say to themselves, if you're being successful, I can be successful too. And that means the whole process of bringing people in has now been shrunk down in terms of time expended, and that means productivity goes up. And that's what we all are looking for. When you hear people talking about momentum, that's what they're saying, is they brought them to a point where the business became transparently attractive to people from all walks of life. And it goes from sponsorship rates going up, which we're seeing, and it also comes from lowering the attrition rate, so that income rises, and so people can speak from a point of confidence because they're assured that they're being successful themselves. And that assurance, whether verbally or just in terms of manner, that assurance is being conveyed to those people who are in their downline.